Hi everybody. I'm going to do a video with you guys today about fletching arrows. I've always been a person to get my arrows fletched. It was just easier to drop them off, basically because I was intimidated by the process and a little scared. So I've taught myself how to fletch arrows, and I wanted to share my knowledge with you guys to show you that it's really not that hard of a process and you shouldn't be intimidated. So I'm going to show you a couple of the things that I use and go from there. So we're going to start off with what we're going to end up with. I shoot Victory V-Force carbon arrows, 500 grain spine, filled tip points, 4 fletched, pink and white. I normally am a black and purple girl, but when I do shoot, if I miss, I really wanted something that stood out in the grass, and the pink and white definitely stands out. You can see it really easy. I've also changed all of my nocks to Y nocks. See if you can see those better. Love these nocks. If you have not tried Y nocks, I highly recommend you call Northwest Nomad Warriors and order you some today. They're my favorite. I've also gone in and we have wrapped, let's see if you can get a good picture of that, wrapped the tips of our fletching. This helps keep them from digging in your hand. It keeps the fletching more secure to the arrow over time, so you don't end up breaking part of your fletching off and that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to use to get to that point. So I have an arrow that is ready to refletch. I have taken my fletchings off. They were coming apart and kind of broken. So I have a zip strip, and it is a very easy arrow defletcher. You just take the little thing out of the box here. This is what it looks like. And you're going to take this and then just slide it right up under your fletchings and pull them right off. Some of them you'll have to scrape just a little bit to get the glue and stuff off of them. I know that there are wraps that you can buy to put on your arrows, so that when you get ready to refletch, you just pull the whole piece off. Your fletchings are actually stuck to that vinyl wrap that are on here, so when you take it off, it's just nice and smooth. I at the moment don't use those. I'm looking into them, but right now I'm still doing it old school way. For my fletcher, well, my jig, you have to have a regular knock. You can't have any kind of specialty knocks in there. They just don't fit in the jig. So to refletch, I pull mine out, put the standard regular knock back in. So, all right, we're going to see if I can adjust this camera so you guys can actually see what I got going on here. Okay, guys, what I have is a Blitzenberg jig. For those who don't know, there are lots of different jigs you can buy. Blitzenberg is one of the best because everything is metal. There's nothing plastic on this. Everything is easy to clean up. I prefer the metal because if you get glue on it, you just take a razor blade or can take anything and you can just scrape it and it comes right off. So when you're getting ready to decide what to do with your arrow, you're going to need to ask yourself several things. Are you doing 3 fletched, 4 fletched? And that's going to adjust on your jig depending on what you're using. Now, if you are using the 120s, which is going to be your 3 fletched arrows, you are going to, on a Blitzenberg, run this top screw in some and pull these other 2 screws out some. So when you turn your knob down here, it stops in the appropriate place for your fletchings. I am running 90s on mine. This one also has a setting for the 75 105s, which a lot of people do really like those, but I have not experimented a lot with that yet. So mine are set on 90, so these 2 screws, top and bottom, are run out some, and the one in the middle for 90 is run down in, so as you turn it, you get this nice little click into each groove. Okay, when you get a jig, most times these are already set up for you, especially on a Blitzenberg jig. This is to help you determine, kind of turn it, which way this lays into the arrow. So you can get different one of these arrow holders. This is a straight. They come in right wing, left wing, and that is just determine your heloflex on the way that your fletching sit on your arrow. So one of the biggest things when people get their arrows out to get ready to refletch them is they don't clean them properly. So I, being a girl, always have all these cotton pads laying around for makeup. So you're gonna take one of these cotton pads and we are going to wet it down with alcohol. Anywhere on here that you are going to put a fletching, we are going to clean. This takes all the oils, all the dust, all the dirt, anything that might have built up from handling and use off. So you're gonna clean them really well. And since you're using alcohol, it dries pretty fast. So you're gonna take your arrow and try not to touch where you just alcoholed. And you're gonna fit this in your jig so that it sits nice and snug. Okay, so we have this in there. I'm gonna turn you guys this way so maybe you can see kind of what I've got going on here. All right, so on a Blitzenberg, you have your magnets right here. So as you get ready, you will place this in, set it down, attach it to your magnets so that when you slide it over, everything seals onto your arrow really nice and snug and flat. When you do this, when you are first setting up, if you notice any kind of gapping in between where your fletching would be and your arrow, that's what these screws are for. This adjusts it up and down so that everything sits nice and flat. You don't want any gaps in there. All right, next thing in deciding on your arrow is when you get these, they have these pre-cursed little markers to help you stay consistent. You need to decide how far down you prefer your arrows. Your fletching, excuse me. I prefer mine on this second longest mark. That gives me enough room in the end to get my hand around the feathers and enough room for me to get everything onto my string without my feathers being too bunched up at the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to select your feathers. Now I am doing 4 fletch, so we will have 2 whites. We will have 2 pinks. All right, and then somewhere, oh, there it is. I have some glue. Okay, at the moment, I am using G1 glue. See if you can get a picture of that. So far, it seems to be really good. It doesn't drip. You can use it for veins and arrows. I've used it now for, a couple months. I really like how way it sets up. It's pretty easy to use. It tacks in really well, and it dries really fast, which is something I do really like about this. Okay, so we're going to take your first feather. You are going to place it so the widest part is at the bottom, and you're going to set the tip right on the mark that you like. And you're going to slide your feather into it so it's nice and flat and tight up against this. Make sure you're on your mark. Now, with this glue, you want to take the glue and you're going to go right down the back of the vein. Stay steady, try to stay on there. Come all the way down to the end. Now, when I get to the end, I like to not add any pressure, not push any more out, but take the tip and roll it back across the edge so that everything is nice and coated and the bead is even all the way across. All right, now you're going to lay the end into your jig, touch your magnets, then slide everything over and press so that your fletching is nice and smooth. Let's see if I can get a good picture of that. Nice and smooth against your arrow. You're gonna let that sit for just a few seconds so it sets up so when you take it off, you're not ripping the fletching back off. Now, the biggest thing about this when you do it is you want to open your clamp and slide the clamp back and off. If you don't open it first and you just try to pull it back, you're just gonna rip your feather right back off. So, since you have it set on your 90 degrees, you'll turn it, you'll feel it click, and you're ready for the next arrow. So we're gonna take our next one, which is gonna be white because we alternate each one. And you're gonna set them in, same as before, nice and flat in there, nice and in the groove. Take your glue, nice and steady. Make sure you get plenty on the tips. The tips are always the parts that come off first. It's never the middle, always your tips, because they take the most abuse. So again, you're going to lay the butt in there, lay it on your magnets, and then slide it over to your arrow and press just enough so everything's got good contact. You're gonna give that just a few seconds to kind of set up. And I will tell you, if you get this glue on your fingers, it is super sticky. It dries really fast and it is super hard to get off. So be aware of that as you're using this glue, that you do not want to just be squirting it everywhere, because if you make a mess, it will make a mess and you can't just clean it up easily. This glue is made to be here for a long time, and it is there for a long time. So you will open, slide off, and turn. Ta-da! 2. All right, on to the next, which is going to be, next is pink again. Sorry, I'm trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing and do it at the same time. And I am new at making these videos, so thanks for being patient with me. All right, there again, everything's nice and flat, even. Take your glue all the way down. Make sure you get your tips really good. Now come back in and spread it out across there. All right, I'm going to set it in your jig. Click it onto your magnets and then slide over to your arrow and put just a little pressure. Now, I have seen some people come in, if you have too much glue, and take a Q-tip and run in between your feathers to clean up any excess glue. I do really like this glue because it does dry clear, so you don't have as much of the on your arrows if you do get a little bit of run or a little excess. Like on this one, I got just a little extra on the tip, so, but it should dry clear and you shouldn't notice it. So you're gonna open and then slide off and turn again. And this is our last one. Same process. Put this in, line it up on your mark. Now, I will tell you, some people, when you learn where the mark is on here that you like that setting, I have seen people take black markers and mark onto their jigs exactly the spot that they like, so it's a little more automatic. You don't have to think about it. Hey, this is the black mark, that's where they go. So I've experimented a little bit with moving it, and I have different arrows at different lengths on the shaft. And so far, this one seems to be my favorite setting. It gives me the room that I need to grab everything without being too far down. Now, I do have a set that I did a little lower, and I feel like I got them a little low down. All right, so set in your jig, on your magnets, push into your arrow, everything nice and flat and tight. See? Nice and flat and tight in there. And give it a few seconds. While you're doing this, when you get finished, I like to take the alcohol that you've been cleaning. I like to clean the tip of this. It can get excess built up on it just from use. I make sure all my fuzzies are cleaned off if anything does get stuck on it. And always put your cap back on. If you're not immediately fletching arrows, put your cap back on. This stuff dries super quick. You don't want to lose a whole bottle because you got up and walked outside and forgot to put the lid on. All right, this should be ready. So you will lift and slide. Should come right off. And that, guys, is a 4-fletched arrow. Super easy. I don't know why all these years we have all been super intimidated to learn how to do this. This is a time saver. This is a money saver to learn how to do your own. You can do 3-fletch, you can do 4-fletch. You can buy the different jigs to make a right wing turn or a left wing turn. That's all personal preference to you. I recommend that you guys play around some with different arrows, different weights, 4-fletched, 3-fletched. If you've got a friend who's got some of the 75, 105 twist arrows, play with those too. Because in this game, everything is so personal to feel, how you like it to be, how you like it to set up. So the more you can personalize and tweak things to how you like them, I think the better off you are. So these guys will hang out, and I usually let my arrows cure for about 24 hours before I do anything to them. After 24 hours, I will take them and we will wrap the tips with string like you saw in this one. It helps save the fletching. It helps your hand save from not just being eat up. I have had fletchings in my hand and it hurts really bad. So I started wrapping mine because if they're wrapped, I don't have to wear a left-hand glove. And it's so hot, anything that I can take off, I'm gonna take off. After these dry and after these get wrapped, I will take these nocks out and I will put Y nocks back in. That just is how I prefer to shoot my arrows. But there again, the sport is so individualized. You can shoot anything. Some people swear up and down by V nocks. I have a couple of those and they're really good nocks too. I personally just like the Ys. I know there are M nocks out there. Haven't tried those, and I think there are X noxes. Sorry if I've misspoke. I think it's an X. You can turn it multiple ways and it kind of goes into the string anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little and learned that maybe you shouldn't be so intimidated. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I may not have all the answers, but I do have really good resources for people who would have the answer if I don't. So hopefully you like this video. If you do, down here, give it the thumbs up. If you really enjoy our videos and like to see what we were going on, hit that subscribe button. We also recommend hitting the bell so you know every time and get notified every time that we post a video so you can stay up to date with us. So thanks for following along, and I will see you guys next time.